have entered the premises of Core Confidence Talents. We interview inspirational artists and authors from across the world. Okay, we are here on the program talking to Linda J. Lanceit Saltman, and she is an author and self-publisher of children's books. And we're talking about one of her books, A Jiffie Adventure, Jiffie Saves the Day, which is her latest book. How you doing, Linda?
I'm doing just great, Dennis. I just want to say, before we get started in the interview, you have such a warm, friendly smile and so kind that befits your personality.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. All right, so tell us a little bit about this book we're talking about today, A Jiffie Adventure. So you are a children's writer and self-publisher, and you put out this really good and entertaining children's book. So tell us more about it.
Okay, well, actually, simply put, it's about a young giraffe named Jiffie who, through self-discovery, finds the strength to realize that being different can be a wonderful thing, and how she and her animal friends come to value their differences.
Valuing differences. So tell me more about that. What kinds of differences are going on in that book?
Well, Jiffie is tall, and her friends are short, and they're small. And in the gist of the story is that she can't play the game that her friends would like. Were thinking of playing with her because she is so tall. Because when one of the characters says, "What game did you have in mind?" and she says, "Oh, I was thinking of hide and seek." And they said, "Well, don't you think Jiffie's just a little too tall? I mean, I saw her from a distance not too long ago." And so she said, "Oh, okay, I guess you're right." So uh, Jiffie sadly, starts walking away, and Aroma, says, "Hey, Jiffie, do you want to become smaller?" And Jiffie turns around and said, "I guess." And she said, "Well, why?" She said, "Well, there's this marvelous magician by the name of Magical Mindy. Have you ever heard of her?" She says, "No." "Well, I heard she was the greatest magician in the forest, and she can change. Can she change animal sizes?" She says, "I guess so." And so off Jiffie runs and tries to find Magical Mindy upon Aroma's instructions of how to get to her. And so through this, that's when the adventure starts, and how Jiffie realizes that being the height she is really is okay. And the way the story evolves, and that's basically the differences that I have as such. And not taking things from strangers is another moral that I've got in the story because of what goes on. And that's that.
Okay, so it sounds like a book full of messages and morals. And so what really do you want people to take away from these books? What's some of the moral messages that you want people to walk away with?
Okay, well, not taking things from strangers and being happy as to who you are. Those are the two major messages in my first book. I'm going.
Okay. And so who is this book for? What's the age range that this book would be good for?
Well, this book is good for actually from 6 months, or even upon birth to about 6 or 7 years old, because I have my own songs in it. And as the child reads it, can grow into more and more of the content in the book as time goes by.
Oh, okay. So what has been the responses from people, if you know, who read this book? What do people think of it?
Well, I have actually some testimonials that I've gotten that I'd be very happy to read to you,
Sure,
Dennis.
sure.
Okay. One says, I purchased Jiffie's Adventure for my granddaughter's 2nd birthday. She loves books, and what is so special about this one is that it will grow with her. She enjoys the story and finger puppets now. Later, she will enjoy the stories in a more nuanced way and experience the CD. I know that of all the books she asks us to read to her, Jiffie will be the one she enjoys reading to herself in the future. Another testimonial I got, which I think is really amazing, is I purchased a Jiffie Adventure, Jiffie Saves the Day, for my 2 little girls. Little did I know that it would be such a tremendous hit with them. I read the story to them, and what an amazing time we all shared together. Besides the great story and wonderful lessons it has on self-esteem and not taking anything from strangers, Linda has put a fresh approach to these subjects, which children can relate to. We also love the songs and the creative addition of the beautifully made finger puppets to match the animal characters in the book. As if that wasn't enough, the Q&A page at the end of the story was an added bonus. My girls eagerly wanted to answer the questions, followed by the challenging games, which was the topper to it all, excuse me. We also love listening to the CD in the car as the 2 of them play with the finger puppets. Great road trip fun. With all the interaction this book provides, I highly recommend it to everyone who wants an enjoyable experience with their loved ones and as a gift to friends. Thank you so much, Linda, for creating such a joyful book that will always be a highlight of mine and the lives of my 2 little girls.
Oh, that was a nice one. That was a nice testimonial review there. You know, and I would say, you know, this book, you have the finger puppets that go with it, and the CD where you're reading the book, you are performing, you know, you're doing some of those songs, and you've got all the effects in the audio as well. So it kind of brings you into parts of that story. So how did you come up with this story?
Well, as a young mom, I always loved, I liked writing, but I did puppet shows for my kids. And a birthday party was coming up for my son, and an incident took place where I actually did my first puppet show. But upon having different incidents happen in the following year about what's going on and how unsafe it could be for children around adults, and I kept hearing it more and more, it really got me to thinking, you know, I want to do something that I want to do something to make a statement. And I thought of this story. The giraffe actually came about because it happens to be my sister's favorite animal. And so I incorporated Jiffie as a giraffe. And it just kind of followed. I don't know. It just kind of all fell together in the way that it did. I can't really put my finger onto how every character became the character they were, but I just saw this joyful grouping of a little raccoon, a little skunk, and a tall giraffe. And it's just something that kind of popped into my head, and I just went with it.
All right, all right. Well, certainly quite creative how you put all that together. How long have you been an author writing books?
Actually, a few years, but I've done musical comedy as a youngster, and because of that background, I put the songs in what do you call again, with the genre of musical comedy, so, you know, music. And I have found that the children whom I've read the book to in libraries and in schools really take to it, and and it just is something that I'm, it's just something that evolved, actually. I never really thought of myself as a writer to begin with. It just sort of evolved.
Just sort of evolved. So now this book is one, but do you have any more books in the works with this?
Yes, I do. I have a second one coming out, and it's got a different moral, and it's got different songs, and it's very entertaining as well. And all my books are going to have the Q&A page in the back, which I think is very important, because families getting together and children talking about the questions and all, it kind of gives a heads up to the parents as to the comprehension of the child and what they really are getting from the story. And with this, they they can see either shortcomings or how well they're doing. And it's kind of like a scale. And I also have other games in the book where a child puts a finger in their circle and closes their eye and puts his finger in this colorful circle. And when they open their eyes, and they see who they've chosen from the circle with the pictures of the characters, they have to talk about that character. So if the child is shy, they have a voice. And even if they aren't shy and they come, and they see the character, then they can come out and they can explain, a minute about that character. So again, you get to understand that the child understands the story, the important parts of the story, or whatever they want to say as what they felt was important. So you can kind of key in as to what their interests are and what they most they most thought about that particular character. So it's really an ongoing learning experience for the loved ones, for the anyone who's reading the book with the children, to kind of just grab hold of and just learn and enjoy together.
Excellent. All right. So I see here that it appears maybe that children's books or books in general kind of run in the blood there. Your mother also has a book, so maybe you could talk a little bit about that too.
Oh, thank you. My mom's book is called Wooly the Moth, and Wooly is all about a little moth who had a determination and how he accomplished it.
Okay. Is that your mother's only book, or does she have any more books as well?
Well, actually, she has another book, but that's in the works of being designed right now. And that one's Mama Duck and the Alligator. And it's really an another adorable story. But what I want to mention about Wooly, how Wooly came about, was the fact that it was a favorite of my sisters and mine when we were growing up. And it just so happened that when my mom, happened to look into a file cabinet that she noticed that she had this story. This is actually a year before her demise. And she said, "Look what I just found." And I said, "Oh my goodness." I was really, really excited. So the bottom line was that she, was that she found this 8.5 by 11, maybe, was it a sheet or two of paper, turning slightly brown, to the fact that they were a little, they had been in there quite some time. And so I said, "Oh, Mommy, I'm going to make a story out of this." And that's what I did. And that's how Wooly came about. And I'm just really very happy with it. I did a, I worked at the World of Wings Museum in New Jersey. And it was a marvelous, marvelous venue for children. And I read the story twice to two different groups, And after each reading, I got rounds of applause, and I just felt so exceedingly happy inside because it was something that I was so happy to have been able to accomplish and to bring out to others to also get the beauty of it. And one thing I didn't mention, which I should have originally, was that my mom was a marvelous poet and writer, and she actually wrote Wooly the Moth all in verse. And it's just eloquent. She just has a magnificent way with words. She always has, and it was just and it's timeless. It's at any age we could enjoy this story because it's the way it it's written. It just has really, it's just very entertaining. And I also have a CD for this book as well.
All right, cool. Well, that sounds cool. So where can people see more about this book? Maybe buy it for their children or pick up this book and see more? Like your website or any place they can get it?
Well, right now, my website is being revamped. And if anyone is interested, they can, what do you call it? The name of my website right now is joyfulchildrenstories.com. And or they can just contact me, Linda C, the letter C, stories @gmail.com. And we can, and anything they want to know about anything, they can just write to me and be happy to answer any questions of any kind.
All right, and it's a very entertaining book, especially if you have the CD, because you get to hear the special effects and all the production that went into it, and it definitely will entertain the children of the world. So, what would you want to leave somebody with about your book? Any words you want to leave somebody with about getting them to look into this book? Like, what's some words of wisdom?
Opening the minds of our youth joyfully while making lasting, loving memories.
No, that's beautiful. That's
Thank
beautiful.
you.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us here to talk about this book, and thank you for spending your time here with us.
It's been a pleasure, a great pleasure, and I thank you for having me on your show.
No problem.
Stop recording.